I spoke at CIRSx and I live to tell the story. This is a CIRSx recap. Let's hit the highlights. I'm Dr. Lauren Sparks. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and also a therapist. I've walked through the fire of erythromelalgia as well as chronic inflammatory response syndrome. I'm here to tell you I have hope for your healing. So much of it. Okay, so CIRSx. I spoke alongside the great Dr. Dale Bredesen. This was surely an honor. I think I learned about him over a decade ago. So it was really exciting to see him as our keynote speaker. And it was exciting to hear him talk about how dementia is truly optional at this point in time. He talked about how we can detect Alzheimer's early via blood testing and walk it back. During my CIRS and EM healing process, I really felt like my body was working against me. But what he talked about was in dementia and Alzheimer's, some of the things that the body is doing, it is doing in order to protect the body itself. And when we see things occurring in this context of early dementia or early signs that dementia could occur, we want to re-engage the body in connection mode. So we should be in connection mode. Instead, our body has moved into protection mode. I think CIRS is also a protection mode, and we've got to walk that back to connection mode. He talked about, it was really interesting, by the time we diagnose mild cognitive impairment, he said this is like saying we have a mild cancer that has metastasized. If you know anything about cancer, this would be grave news. But we don't talk about mild cognitive impairment in that way. So I love the idea that there is blood testing that can be done that can help us understand risk and help us walk back things that are currently occurring. I got to have a conversation with him, and he told a story about a patient. I think it was N of 1, his first patient, Judy, who actually was really, really afraid of dementia because her mother had died of dementia. And she saw what a brutal, prolonged dying process that can be. You know, it can take decades for a person to die from dementia, and you lose that loved one over that period of time. It's a cumulative loss. And so Judy was really scared of this, and Dr. Bredesen began working with her. I think she was in her 60s, he said. They have totally dialed back anything that could create dementia for Judy, and she's currently in her 80s, and she is walking across the United States to raise awareness and to educate people on the fact that dementia or Alzheimer's is actually optional, which I think is invigorating. I drove from Santa Fe, New Mexico to Tempe, Arizona, and that was quite a drive. I was tired from the drive. And then I learned Judy, who is in her 80s, had walked through California, Arizona, and was actually in New Mexico during our conference. You can look her up. I think the website is judywalks.com. Very inspirational. Dr. Bredesen also talked about how he really felt Dr. Shoemaker deserved the Nobel Prize for the work that he has done, that this exposure to mycotoxins and actinobacteria and endotoxins, that this is really groundbreaking research that has saved and improved the lives of many people, but is a pivotal piece in addressing, this inhalational Alzheimer's or dementia that can occur in someone's life. So it was beautiful to see a doctor who has received acclaim like Dr. Bredesen acknowledge Dr. Shoemaker in that way. The next take home I have is that there was a coalition of providers that really spoke to how important it is to address Lyme and co-infection in the context of CIRS. So Dr. Peg DiTullio, Dr. Christian Navarro-Torres, and Dr. Laura Varga, all in a different spin on things, really hammered home the point that this is really underdiagnosed, that we're underdiagnosing Lyme and co-infection in patients, and that this is unfortunate. And so if we are treating a patient for CIRS water damage building, and that does need to be treated first, and we're not seeing full resolution of symptoms, then we have to be curious about why we aren't getting that full resolution of symptoms. Dr. Christian Navarro-Torres talked about how an absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So if we do some testing and we don't see Lyme or co-infection, what we can say is we don't have data to support the diagnosis at this time. We can't say you don't have one of these infections. And the reality is these infections are stealth, they are cyclical, and early in CIRS treatment, when C3A is often low and the immune system is dysregulated and not functioning well, we can have these challenges and our immune system can't see those challenges and give us the feedback, for lack of a better word, that we need in blood work to identify those challenges. So it can be that a person works through CIRS water damage building treatment, they're well treated, their C3A, which was low, normalizes, and then all of a sudden the immune system can see the problem. So it's not just a one-time testing, unfortunately. I think another take home was that sometimes we have to do repeat testing to catch these infections, that none of the testing is perfect. But again, we're using lots of different tools to make decisions, and we aren't being dogmatic about any one tool. Dr. DiTullio gave some interesting feedback for practitioners. Like if we're seeing a persistently high VEGF, or a person's fully treated for CIRS water damage building, and then all of a sudden we see their VEGF elevate, that could really be a red flag that Bartonella would be at play. I am seeing Bartonella present and Lyme in more and more of my erythromelalgia patients, so I do think that this is very interesting. In the context of Babesia, Dr. Pegg was saying to look for a low haptoglobin, and even a borderline low haptoglobin may indicate that there's something there. And then she also was saying that low copper could be a red flag that Lyme was present. And the take homes were really that timing matters, so we need to probably test more frequently than we would like, but that we really can tie up some of these symptoms that are persisting past treatment of CIRS water damage building if Lyme or co-infection are present, and they are more present than we would probably like to think. And then the last take home, I could spend all day discussing this, but when I think about things that were really important that I would want to know in the context of being a patient, Dr. Dorniger gave a great Actino update. He talked about how many of us are using defense soap and how we are finding some effectiveness with that. But it is reasonable to say if we are removing bacteria from the skin microbiome, what are we doing to replete that healthy bacteria? And he was positing that we want to acidify the body to invite healthy bacteria back into that skin microbiome. Otherwise, it could just be this constant cycle of having to use defense soap and never being able to get away from that. And so we are adding in, I'm not sure if it's Lumi or Lume or Lume. Regardless, we'll link it below, but it's an acidifying body wash. I have tried it post-conference and I like it. I was already using their deodorant, which I like a lot. I love the rose flavored. It's feminine. I have nothing against Defense Wash. I think Defense Wash is quite pleasant given the alternatives. But I do really love this acidifying body wash, especially in the rose scent. They also have unscented and other scents if rose doesn't appeal to you. But Dr. D was suggesting to use this body wash to help acidify the body and support a healthy microbiome. So that was something new on the Actino front. If you've been using Defense, you may want to incorporate this acidifying body wash. I am using Defense one day, acidifying body wash the next. Talk to your medical provider about what they may recommend that you do. If you're benefiting from this channel, do like and subscribe. If you're concerned about Actino, and particularly Actino in the nasal passages, then watch this next video where we discuss the sinus key. Until next time, take good care and hold on to hope.